time you performed 5 months ago. How was it for you? Because I heard that you had many people in front of the stage.
Yes.
Remember this show?
No, I don't.
In 3 countries, in 3 cities?
Yes, I do remember. It was Warsaw. Let's do this country again. Okay, let's start over. So I played Warsaw, Wrocław, and I only played 2, I thought. Poznan, yeah, of course. How could I forget? How could I forget? Because that was like in an old, it's like a brothel or something, or a strip club. It felt like it was cool. I like that one. I like that show. It was great. I don't know why Polish people come to our shows so much. I know, and it's really great though. I have no idea why. We were talking about it earlier because, not every country, we're not that popular. I don't know why Poland we're so popular, but it's great. I love it.
Today the Help Criminals are playing also with you, and they play even a little bit similar music to yours. So
yeah, listen to them.
When
it sounded
somebody
like
wants to play like yours.
yeah, it sounded like Americans. It was really great. It's really good.
Yeah, okay, so how would you classify your music? Because officially it's male folk or dark folk, and what is it for you? How would you describe it personally? Or maybe you agree with this?
No, I don't really agree with that, because I don't say those words. I don't say dark folk, or I guess if I'd say I wrote like a folk song, it would be a folk song, you know what I mean? But I often say, it sounds a little pretentious, but I often say it's just rock and roll. And then I describe it like, maybe country, blues, rock and roll. Which is pretty accurate, I think. But dark folk, no, I don't like that. I think that's a silly kind of...
Yeah, in fact, every other city is different actually, so it's hard to use just one word to describe it. So
yeah, and who knows, I might make a reggae album. If we're, you never know. And that's the thing, is like, I think, sorry. You want beer?
Yeah.
Okay. These are the good Polish beers. Do you want anything? Iffy?
No, okay.
So yeah, like, the new record is like a rock record. No, not the one the one that just came out is like a rock record too, but it's even Songs of Flesh and Blood in the Key of Light has a lot of mellow moments, I think, a lot of chiller, or more down. It's a more depressing album. But yeah, for sure. But the new one it's about to come out, pre-orders come out tomorrow for it. That one's called Sex, and that one's a rock album. It feels like a real, more upbeat rock and roll album. Yeah.
So you are. So this will be your King Youth album.
Yeah, whole new album.
And what about your collaboration with Chelsea Wolf? Because you recorded 2 songs together, and I think these are great songs. Your voices are a perfect match, I think. And are you planning to collaborate with her?
For sure. I mean, we always talk about doing even more recordings together, but we're both so busy, so it's about finding time. I'm gonna see her in a couple days, so at the Brutal Assault. So we'll probably talk about it there. Talk about it, but we'll probably usually we just talk about other stuff,
And are you planning maybe to play something with her on Brutal Assault? Because
maybe I don't know the times. I don't think we play at the same time, so it's possible. I'm sure that we'll. It's possible, but it would have to. I would love to. We did this tour together in the United States, and it was a lot of fun because I would come out during her set. Or did she come out during mine? No, I came out. So I opened up the whole tour as a 2-piece, and then she'd call me back on stage. We'd do two more songs together during her set. It was a lot of fun. It's fun to do that. I think that's how people used to play music, as duets and old country stars. It seems like something Johnny Cash would do or something, or June Carter Cash would have done. Or Pete Seeger, any of these guys, they just, Roy Orbison, remember, they'll just be like, oh, so-and-so's in the audience, or even like James Brown. I was watching this one James Brown concert on YouTube from like the 80s, and he sees that Prince is in the audience and Michael Jackson are both in the audience, and this is like young Michael Jackson. Well, this is like Thriller era Michael Jackson, maybe before Thriller. But no, it must have been right at Thriller. And then it's Prince when Prince is real wild too, and James Brown is such a boss. He just makes him get on stage and play and dance and sing a little bit.
Yeah.
It's so cool. I think that's neat, and you can tell it wasn't planned. And I think, yeah, that's really cool.
What about your songs of Flesh and Blood album?
Yeah.
Because it was a very personal album.
Yes.
And was it the most difficult album to write for you, or comparing to other CDs?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was very difficult. It was by far, I would say, the most difficult album I've ever made, but I was also just going through a rough period in my life. I was dealing with a lot of breakup, and I was very heartbroken. It makes for good music, you know, but it doesn't make for good human beings to be that heartbroken. So I'm glad I'm not heartbroken anymore. And because I was really, really depressed, and I channel a lot of that, you know, those feelings into the album itself. And the album is like, what I didn't expect to do was, I felt good, and it was a cathartic process to get all those feelings out and make these songs that I never really made personal songs like that before. And then so I get all out, and I go, well, that was great. You know, I feel better. Helped me through the process, the grieving or whatever. But then what I didn't think about is, oh, you've got to tour this album now for 2 years. You're going to play these songs every day for a long time and kind of relive it. And at first it was torture. You know, I just didn't want to play it. But now it's, I think the songs have a new life and a new meaning. They've grown to mean different things to me, I guess I should say. You know, and it's really rich. To me, it's a very enriching experience to get to do that.
And are you playing more songs from this album compared to others?
Yeah, today I'll probably play most of the album.
Great.
I think all of it.
It's great because it's my favorite album of yours.
Thank you.
And for you, what is your favorite album?
Of mine?
So far? Yeah.
Probably Sex, which you haven't heard yet. Sex.
Okay. So
But it's usually the last album.
More happy music, right?
Well, yeah, it's a meditation on sex, so there's happiness to it, but there's not just happiness in sex, and there's all kinds of feelings. It's fun, I would say fun. And there's a lot more fun to it than songs of Flesh and Blood and the Key of Light, which means people will probably hate it. But that's okay. It's okay if they hate it, because I think it's important.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's important to know what you do.
Yeah, I have to finish it. It's part of a cycle, so I don't really have a choice, you know. And it's just
As an artist, you just probably do what your heart tells you.
Yeah, more or less.
Have you ever considered working with movies? You know, writing music for movies, because I think that some of your songs are perfect. You know, some psychedelic series or some westerns or something like this. Have you ever considered to write a music for a film?
I actually did a score. I rescored a little bit of a. It's very difficult to find, but I rescored Ingmar Bergman, I think is his name, film. But the film is called Summer with Monica. And anyways, Bergman, as a director, directed so many different movies. And this record label called Black Horizons wanted a compilation of all these different bands to choose a movie and choose a 20-minute section of the movie and rescore it. And so I did for this movie, Summer with Monica. And so if you played my recording to the film, it's a score. It's not like just songs, you know. It's not a soundtrack, is what I'm saying. So I've done that once, but you know, they didn't make many copies of it. They made maybe 100 copies of the cassette, you know. And
probably it's hard to find it as well.
I think I've got 5 or 6 copies at home, but I don't know if anybody else has it. You know what I mean? Like, it's probably gone. And sometimes you'll get approached by like a movie, or you know, this happens to me, and I usually say no, because either it's not a right fit, or there's like no money. Yeah. And I think if you're doing something like film, you should get paid.
Of course.
But at the same time, and it just seems like there's so much money in movies, but I could be totally wrong about that. The other thing, you don't always need to do everything for money, but you don't want to give something away for free if there's a huge budget and thousands of dollars, you know. So And you hear, like, in the past, there's people getting paid so much money to do film, like, licensing, is what they call it. It's very boring to talk about, I guess. But this is the boring legal or back end side of the music industry. So, I don't know. I don't really try and do that. You know, I'm not trying to get it out there. But if the right person came along, I guess I would love to write it, and I've done it.
If it would be some of your friends, and maybe
of course.
I feel that you're interested in.
Yeah, I would like to see. I think what you're saying maybe is that you want to see the two things married, right? You want to see. Yeah, maybe it'll happen. Maybe a director will have that same feeling you have. But I mean, as of now, it's nobody's approached me. Maybe a good Polish director will see this.
Maybe.
Yeah, that'd be great.
You know, Polish audience also, so maybe there will be some director somewhere in the crowd.
Yeah, cool. Yeah.
And everybody compares you to Johnny Cash or UK or whoever. Are you tired of such a conversation? Because, you know...
Well, they're great artists, so it's difficult to be upset about. Somebody says, hey, you're like Nick Cave. How can you be pissed off about that? I think the only thing I don't like is when people think I set out to be like Johnny Cash or Nick Cave, which is not true. I mean, they're heroes.
Honest, I think that you're doing what you feel.
Yeah. I think if you listen closely, you'll see that we have, obviously Johnny Cash is, nobody can just do Johnny Cash, right? But I mean, I do have songs where there's so much Johnny Cash in them. They could have been Johnny Cash songs, I think, or probably shitty Johnny Cash songs, you know?
For example, I think it's more like UK, I think.
People said that, yeah.
When I first heard it, I felt like it was of UK there.
I think that's great, you know, it's a great comparison to make. And I'm not as familiar with all his music as much of Johnny Cash, but I think what people are hearing, and I think somebody like Nick Cave and I probably share a lot of same inspiration in music, at least. But I usually pull my inspirations from a little bit earlier, probably the same area that he's pulling his inspirations from. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you know, I don't think he listens to me. I've definitely heard his music, but you know, I think it's the only time it's ever frustrating to get compared to something like that is if they think that you're trying to be that.
Yeah.
But that's not even frustrating.
Right?
Yeah, but that's not even that bad of a thing either. So it's great. I usually just am happy that people like it. They're not saying you sound like this shitty person. You know what I mean? That's good. Then I think, isn't that?
Yeah, I think it's good. It's okay.
Yeah, it doesn't bother me.
And you have also your own clothing line.
Yes.
Actual line. And are you selling it also while touring or in some shops or just online?
Just online. You don't bring it with us. It would be a truckload. Yeah, it's too much.
Yeah. And why
Too
don't
much
you have any clothes with cats? Because you have t-shirts with dogs. I see
Yeah, why don't I?
But not
Well, we'll have to change that. We'll have to make a cat shirt right away.
I would love to buy,
Yeah, we could do that.
Yeah, so you have
That's
to
a good
consider.
idea. Thank you.
Okay. And you have lots of tattoos. And is it your addiction to tattoo or?
To get tattoos?
Yes, because you have so much of them.
No, I'm like allergic to tattoos now. Basically, if somebody wants to tattoo me, I'm like, no, I don't want to. Because you get older and they just hurt. They hurt more and more. Do you have any tattoos?
No, but I would like to have one.
Well, yeah, maybe one or two, maybe not hundreds or whatever. Now I only get tattooed if it's a friend of mine and I'm traveling on tour or something. But I don't, no, I'm definitely not addicted to tattoos. Maybe I was earlier in my life, but that's a young man's thing, you know, who's like, wants to sit through and take all the pain. I don't like pain anymore. I think it hurts.
You used to this pain? Because if you have so much of them, I think that it shouldn't hurt so much.
It hurts worse and worse as you get older. Yeah, I think it's annoying. It's just like, you know, your body this doesn't release adrenaline or whatever. It's just like, oh, this old thing. Like if you get tattooed often, it feels. If you never get tattoos, you're so nervous the first time you get them, and your body really reacts. You know.
At least some hours, you know. For example, 2 or 4 hours, so it's a lot of pain. I think.
Yeah, normally I don't sit that long even anymore. It's normally like a tattoo will last an hour.
Do you have some most favorite of your favorite now?
I think I like the Lucifer's Light of the World I got on my chest, which kind of reminds me of Kenneth Anger's Lucifer that he has on his chest. But mine is shittier and smaller, and it's my song. But I think that I was the first one to get this tattooed, and now I see other people who get it, and they've taken it on as a message, for our movement as other Luciferians, or sometimes Satanists, sometimes Christians. But either way, people can identify with the message of the song, and it's great. It's wonderful to see people get that tattooed, and it means a lot to them. It means a lot to me, So I guess that one.
Yes, that's great. And what was the reason to start your own music company? Weren't you unsatisfied with the results of other companies, or just wanted to do something of your own?
I think we were taking this record. We had just made Fear, and I had a manager at the time, and he was taking it around to different record labels, kind of without telling me. And there's some record labels he would take it to, and I would never want to be on the record label.
Yeah.
And so he's like, So I just said, fuck it, I'm going to start my own record label because I don't want... The problem is, it's like, if somebody would want to put out my record, a bigger record label, I wouldn't want to do it probably. And if it's too small of a record label, I feel like I could just do it myself. So then that was the conundrum. And actually, we played a show with this band called Pierce Arrows, do you know them? From America. They are in another band called Dead Moon. Do you know Dead Moon? Yeah, they're really good. You should listen to them. And they're older than us. They've been around since the 70s, 60s, maybe. No, since the 70s, I'm wrong. 70s and 80s. And Tootie, the bass player, we were talking to her, me and my drummer at the time. We were like, yeah, we got this record, but we don't like any labels. It's basically the problem that I just explained. If the label was too big, we probably wouldn't want to do it. And if it was too small, we probably felt like we could do it ourselves. And she told us, she's like, just put it out yourself. And because they put out their own records for a long time.
Yeah.
And they still do. And so I was like, the next day I just started my record label. It seemed very easy, and so it's going well. And then I release other bands too from time to time.
Yeah.
Actually, more often.
Just your friends' bands or some other that you don't know?
It's really rare if I don't know somebody and put out the record. I don't know if that's happened yet. So far, it's just been friends. But sometimes, Dreadlords just sent me a demo, and I loved it, so I put it out. And then I met them, and now we're friends. So. But yeah, I think I like to know the people. It's not a record label to make a lot of money. It's a record label to have nice records, so I can put out my records.
Probably gives you much satisfaction after releasing something. Right.
It's time consuming, but it is like there's joy, and it's weird to have a little bit of distribution now, and it's not. I never expected it to be a business. I just wanted to take control of releasing my records, and have to answer to nobody, put out records when I want. It's a great feeling. It's freedom, and I like our logo a lot. That I made it. It's like. That was another thing about certain record labels. They might be a good record label, but I hate their logo or the record label name or another band they put out, etc., etc., etc. So it's like, for me, I'm such a control freak. Everything is, believe it or not, is like as finely tuned as I can get it. I've designed everything to be the way that it is. So it makes sense to also do a record label for like that. There's a lot of, since Burning Daylight, there's been full, like a lot of instruments. And I think it's fun to do the songs the way I record them. And I like this band a lot. This is my favorite band I've had. Because they're all very, very good. And beyond that, they're fun to be around. So, and I think we have good energy on stage. So there's a lot more goes on when you have a band, obviously. There's more sounds, but there's more dynamic between the people. There's more spontaneity. Things fall apart more often, But it's just two different shows, really. You can't. I don't dislike playing solo. I actually like it very much. So I try and do that too, as often as I can. But I did like an entire year of solo touring, and that was something me and my manager here, booking agent here, had decided to do a year or so earlier. So we wanted to take a break from the band stuff and not deal with it for, flying people out, and just do it by myself, because I could be on tour for 3 months at a time, yeah, it's great. I love it. I love both, really. It's two different shows. Some people hate the rock and roll show, and not to compare myself to somebody as great as Bob Dylan, but that same thing happened to Bob Dylan. A lot of people don't know that he went from folk to having a full band, and people would walk out of his concerts. They hated the band. Yeah, can you believe it? Like, that song like a Rolling Stone, really long Bob Dylan song. That was that record of shit. People were like, they couldn't stand it.
Wow.
Isn't that weird?
It's weird, yeah.
To think about
concert and
walk and be pissed. And so I don't know. I'm obviously not like Bob Dylan.
But hopefully
in the size would walk out. Yeah, I know some people are kind of disappointed if it's not the solo thing, and then then some of the people are disappointed when it's just the solo thing. Where's the band? It's like you can't win it all. We have a very diverse set tonight, and the music itself is written so that there's reprieve from just a constant barrage of sound. I hate it. I hate seeing bands that are just the same all the way through all night. I can't watch them. I'm too ADD or whatever. I need to be constantly entertained, and I need the dynamics to go up and down, and to feel. I want to feel different things throughout the night, and it's only getting weirder and more eclectic in that sense, in that regard. There's songs that are getting heavier, and there's songs that are mostly they're just getting heavier, but they're still really quiet. Sorry, go ahead.
We can finish if you don't have much time, so
let's finish.
Maybe you would say some final words to readers of MetalSide.
Thank you for being interested in King Dude, and